Welcome to The Explainer. I am so thrilled to have you here today because we're going to look at the global digital economy from a perspective you might not have considered before. We are focusing on the continent where the true utility of digital finance is actually being tested, proven, and scaled on a massive level right now. So, if you think you know the global crypto landscape, well, get ready to shift your perspective entirely. Okay, let's dive into this. I really want you to rethink your assumptions about where the future of finance is actually being built. When we talk about blockchain adoption or the digital economy, where does your mind immediately go? Do you picture Silicon Valley, maybe major financial hubs in Europe or Asia? Well, the data and the demographics are pointing somewhere else entirely. For a long time, the dominant Western narrative around cryptocurrency has pictured, wealthy investors staring at trading charts, analyzing market caps, and hunting for massive returns in what's honestly often treated like a highly speculative casino. But the reality playing out across Africa, it's radically different. Over there, crypto is actively solving daily financial friction. We're talking about freelancers getting paid directly without massive delays, small businesses totally bypassing exorbitant cross-border fees, and regular people protecting their hard-earned savings against local inflation. This is a story of fundamental, everyday utility. It is absolutely not a get-rich-quick hype cycle. Section 1. Beyond the crypto hype. Section 2. The demographic advantage. Now, what's really interesting about this slide is the sheer scale of Africa's youth. It is literally the youngest continent on Earth with a massive, massive percentage of its population under the age of 25. Now, you might be wondering, why does this matter so much for digital finance? Well, because every single year, millions of young, ambitious people enter the workforce, and they're digital natives. They naturally learn new technologies way faster, they love experimenting with innovation, and they are just far more adaptable to decentralized digital tools than older, more traditional populations globally. They are fundamentally the smartphone generation. And look, mobile money isn't a new concept here. Platforms for mobile money already revolutionized the continent years ago, so there's already this deep, existing familiarity with digital transactions. Add in the rapid adoption of smartphones, constantly expanding internet access, and a fiercely entrepreneurial culture where people are forced to build businesses out of necessity to solve local problems. It's like a perfect storm. Just as this demographic famously skipped landline telephones and went straight to mobile phones, they're now leapfrogging traditional banking and going straight to digital wallets. It just feels like an incredibly natural next step. Section 3. Real friction, real solutions. But demographics alone aren't enough to drive a whole revolution, right? We have to look at the banking gap. A massive proportion of the population remains either completely unbanked or severely underbanked. And the reasons for this exclusion are incredibly practical. The nearest physical bank branch might be miles away. The documentation required to even open an account is often totally out of reach or just non-existent. And the account maintenance fees, they just don't make sense for low-income individuals. When the traditional centralized system excludes you by default, well, a decentralized network that only requires a smartphone and a basic internet connection becomes a highly attractive, totally necessary alternative. And this brilliantly illustrates where that friction is most obvious: cross-border payments. Remittances and international business payments are absolutely crucial. But taking the traditional route means high fees that just eat into your money, slow processing times that can take days, and painful currency conversion costs at every single step. But contrast that with crypto payments. You get significantly lower fees because there are fewer middlemen, fast settlement, often within minutes, and it's a direct wallet-to-wallet transfer. The friction of borders is literally just erased. To put a human face on all this macro data, let's consider Amina's story. She's a local entrepreneur selling handmade products online to a global customer base. Setting up an expensive, heavily regulated foreign bank account just to receive her international payments, that was practically impossible for her small business. So instead, she just creates a crypto wallet. It acts as her personal global bank account, allowing her to receive funds instantly and securely from anywhere in the world. It's practical, everyday utility right there. Section 4. Earning in the digital economy. This brings us to how people are actually earning and protecting their money in this new, borderless digital economy. To really understand how they do this, we have to clearly define something called stablecoins. A stablecoin is a cryptocurrency designed to maintain a relatively stable value. It's most often directly linked to a major fiat currency, like the US dollar. And this is absolutely vital to understand. For many Africans adopting this technology,
The goal of crypto is completely divorced from market speculation. They aren't trying to day trade. They are trying to preserve their purchasing power against severe local inflation that just eats away at traditional savings.
So, the crucial point is how this plays out for someone like James, a freelance web developer. He explicitly chooses to receive payment from his global clients in a stablecoin. Why? Because the value remains predictable. He can budget effectively, plan his expenses, and just run his life without waking up to find his income has randomly dropped 20% due to crazy price swings. Stablecoins truly empower freelancers and creators to confidently serve international clients. It creates this really seamless process, what we can call the freelance loop. Step 1. You provide your digital services like coding, writing, or designing to global clients over the internet. Step 2. You completely bypass those traditional banking delays and receive direct, instant stablecoin payments straight to your digital wallet. Step 3. You manage those funds securely. You're acting as your own bank, protecting your wealth against local inflation and converting to local currency only when you absolutely need to. It's a real game changer. It completely removes the payment problem that used to block global economic participation. Section 5. Building Africa's Web3 Future. Let's move to and see how this builds into a completely new dynamic as we look ahead. The old model was pretty straightforward, right? Africa primarily consumed technology that was built elsewhere by developers in Silicon Valley or Europe or Asia, but the new reality is an incredible pivot. Young African developers are actively building decentralized finance platforms, digital identity solutions, and Web3 apps, essentially the next iteration of the internet built on blockchain, specifically designed to solve local African needs. They are making the massive transition from being mere consumers to being the actual creators and founders of blockchain infrastructure. Now, as we look at this rapid growth, it's really crucial we keep a balanced perspective here. There are very real challenges and risks that still exist, and we cannot ignore them. The broader crypto market still suffers from extreme price volatility. Scams and fraud, they're a constant threat to new uneducated users. There are also significant ongoing infrastructure gaps when it comes to reliable internet access and stable power grids. And of course, there's regulatory uncertainty as governments worldwide try to play catch up with the technology. Through all of this, education remains the absolute best defense. Which brings us to our final provocative thought. When you combine a young, digital-first population with massive real-world financial friction, and then you introduce the borderless nature of blockchain, the potential is just staggering. Africa isn't just adopting the future of finance. Are they building it? The foundations are being laid right now, today, and the global digital economy will undoubtedly be shaped by what happens next on the continent. Thank you so much for joining me on this explainer. I really hope it gave you a fresh perspective. And as always, keep learning and stay curious.